Big news coming out of Merseyside. Rafa Benitez looks like he could be on the verge of joining Everton. Now, here's something else that I didn't know what was going on, because I couldn't believe, I suppose Liverpool fans, I could believe that they would be a little bit upset, but I couldn't believe that Everton fans would be upset about the appointment of Rafa Benitez. For a club and fans, but especially the fans that haven't achieved anything in donkey's years, I just don't think they can be picky about who they get in. And Rafa Benitez is one of the finest managers in the world. And I heard one person come around and say, well, you know what, we could get Eddie Howe in, or we could get Graham Potter in. And I'm thinking, you've got Rafa Benitez. You know, it doesn't matter if he's from or he was with Liverpool or not. He's not a Scouser. He's Spanish. He took a job. That's my point of view. I've read something from yourself, though, which says a hell of a lot different.
Right. So, yeah, I had a little nibble at this during the week, because people were putting in, there was a difference of opinion in Liverpool forums, because I was interested to see what people thought. So some people felt betrayed, as in, how could Benitez even think about going for a job like this? My opinion is, and people were saying, look, for everything that Rafa Benitez has done for Liverpool, you know, he restored their pride. But I really think Rafa Benitez got Liverpool in the same way that Klopp did. He embedded into the culture. He bought locally, and he still owns the house even all these years later. He really got the justice scenario of what was going on. Even when he left Liverpool, he made like a donation of 97,000 to the trust. You know, it was real little shrewd things that Benitez did. The other thing he did was he fought off the Americans and you know, the ownership situation tooth and nail. He was a real kind of like a caretaker of the club. So I really think he got Liverpool, and you know, he won the European Cup, which was, you know, at the time unbelievable, because we were going nowhere under previous managers. But then I kind of thought, for all them reasons, you want to say good luck and well done and go to Everton. But I also think, for them reasons, it feels a little strange that in a derby, he'll be sitting in a dugout, you know, contemplating how to take 3 points from Liverpool. So as a fan, I'm a little bit, okay, I don't begrudge him an opportunity, but why Everton? Do you know what I mean? Why Everton? So part of me is a little bit torn on it.
Do you think if Graham Souness, just say it was Graham Souness, went to Everton and took that job, that there would be as much of a worry? Because Graham Souness was a poor Liverpool manager. And maybe it's a little worry here that with Benitez, that he actually might do something at Everton.
Well, I think, I'll put it this right. You look
albeit now, Graham Souness is probably the worst one that I could have picked, because he's a bit of an icon there.
Yeah, so look, I mean, I think the quality of getting in a guy like Rafa Benitez for Everton, I mean, obviously Ancelotti is going there, and that was high profile, absolutely high profile manager. Now, obviously, he's after doing a legger now before signing, getting out the door. But yeah, I think Benitez will go in there, and he will, like, you look at what he did with Newcastle, no funding, no backing. You know, they're a club that, you know, they're shopping in the bargain basement. Everton have put a serious investment. The owners have put a serious investment in place. They're building the stadium. They're bringing in players that they would have never been linked with before. They're paying good wages. They are building something. It would have been interesting where Ancelotti went with them next year, because defensively and structurally, he had them almost where he kind of wanted them. But Benitez goes in there and gets the same backing. He could really do a good job at Everton. You know, it could be the perfect marriage, albeit if it starts wrong or if they have a wobble, he won't get any time in the job. He won't get any time at all. But listen, football supporters, we're as fickle as the next, because if you get success, it doesn't matter who brings it. Look at Mourinho going to Tottenham. They never thought to be in that scenario. But if he'd have brought them a cup, all is forgiven once you're winning. Regardless of the crap style you play, if you're bringing home a trophy, or if you're, you know, knocking on third or fourth place, that type of thing, for Everton, obviously top four. But yeah, it'll be quickly forgotten if he does a good job.
And that's what I was going to say. So you can understand the Liverpool worry, the Liverpool's fans worry that he actually might succeed there. So I cannot understand the Everton's that this is a manager that could now take on to the next level. It's also proven when you see Ancelotti take that step away that Ancelotti wasn't really there for a project. He was there for a gap, I suppose, in his football career. Benitez has shown he was willing to stay at Newcastle United. Now, Newcastle haven't done that in even longer than Everton, but he was willing to stay there if he got the terms and conditions and build something at Newcastle. He's willing to take a project up and develop something.
Yeah. He
will do that at Everton. He will sit there. He will stay with them. He thinks there's progression. He sees now with a stadium there, with the money that's behind it, this team can go and win things. So should Everton fans probably just quieten down and accept here, this is probably their best opportunity to get someone in to win them something.
Yeah, I mean, look, you don't bite off your nose to spite your face. It's just one of these things that, you know, Benitez, as you say there, he's been embedded in Liverpool. He knows the area, he knows the Premier League, he knows everything. He's perfectly situated. This is a guy that brought Valencia in Spain to a league title, to Champions League finals. This is a guy that got Liverpool from absolutely nowhere when he arrived in. And we had a genuine shot at the title in 1 or 2 years that he was there. He brought in Torres. He used his connections. You know, he brought out the best in Gerrard. He's a very, very shrewd guy. Now, obviously, there's a big difference in dealing with a budget or a staff at Newcastle than there is at Everton. So the question will remain, and we'll get answers soon enough. What can Benitez do with a club that backs the manager, which Everton clearly do? And what can he do when he's given a bit of time, as you say, to build a project? So if I were Everton fans, listen, you know, there's a lot worse out there you could have got stuck with, insofar as very underwhelming appointments. I think Everton have done their Eddie Howe type of manager already. It didn't work out. Benitez could be that guy. And let's be honest, he starts winning games, gets them up that table, makes them hard to beat. There'll be very, very few complaints. So they should be happy.
Yeah. Gary says Liverpool squad is better than the Everton squad. Sure, Liverpool cannot be worried about Everton. The whole thing is, Neil, where do Liverpool go now? What does Klopp do now to make Liverpool take that next step? Because obviously you looked at the season this year, and yes, they had the defensive problems. Is that enough now for Liverpool to be able to challenge this year, just get the players back, or do they need something else?
So first and foremost, I don't think Liverpool need to be worried about Everton until Everton start really challenging for the top 4 places, which, you know, even this year they look like they might have an outrun at Christmas and then it badly faded away. So don't get me wrong, Everton still have a big build to do. They don't quite have the right balance between attacking and defending, for example, as in they're too defensively set up for my liking anyway. For Liverpool, I think that we need to strengthen the middle again. So you've lost Wijnaldum, and most importantly, anyone that's watched Liverpool the last 3 seasons, the replacements that are currently at the club for Wijnaldum are Curtis Jones, who's only a young kid plying his trade, Shaqiri, who can't stay fit, Keita, who can't stay fit, and Milner, who is 35, 36, wherever he is now this year. So Liverpool, their midfield is in danger, and I think this is why they let Wijnaldum go. They've Thiago, they've Henderson, they've Milner, all over 30s. They need to get him. They need to get him a guy that's going to play 50 games this season. I know there's a couple of guys in the German league they're looking at, but they need to plug the gap and replace Wijnaldum and not rely on Curtis Jones, because at this moment that's a lot of pressure to put on a young lad like that.
So here's Stu was wrote up. Benitez went to Real, gone under a dozen games, went to Inter Milan, flopped. The guy has been a fossil for years. Agree or disagree, Neil?
I think the Real job was an interesting one, because I don't think Benitez was ever a Real type of manager, as in they want all-out attack. They want to win by goals. They don't want to sit, defend. They don't want pragmatism, basically, in their game. I think Real maybe wasn't the best fit for him, although, you know, you're offered Real Madrid, you have to go and give it a shot.
You would think Inter would be.
You think Inter would have been. Yeah, definitely. I agree on that one. I don't think it worked out well at Inter, but you think the Italian league, the way Benitez can set up, Benitez is quite comfortable to sit there and win 1-0. I remember years ago when Liverpool played Champions League, people used to say this is the golden era, going into Europe and winning 1-0. You score 1 goal and Rafa shut up shop, and you just expected a 1-0 win. Absolutely no worries. Boring, but very, very effective. So I was surprised he didn't work out better at Inter. I wouldn't call him a fossil, but he is. I think we've discussed this on the show many, many times. I think you look at Mourinho, I think you look at Benitez in the manner that they set their teams up. They win games in the 1-0 fashion rather than in the 5-1 fashion, which with Pep at City and Klopp at Liverpool, you don't win leagues playing like this anymore unless maybe you go to a different league. But you look at Bayern, you look at City, you look at other than Atletico Madrid, they broke the mold this year. They would play a Benitez-esque style, very, very pragmatic at the back, no risk. And they overthrew, obviously, Madrid and Barcelona this year, but very, very difficult to overthrow Pep at the moment in the Premier League for the manner he plays, for the amount of points he accumulates. So the Mourinho/Benitez type of manager, yeah, I agree with him being a fossil for that, just that reason only, but he still has gas left in the tank, I think, that type of management style.